Let's get it.
And we're here.
And we're live. We're here. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday.
Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday. We are here, everybody. I am so excited because
We
it
made
was
it.
a it was a late night last night.
Oh, yes.
Up late, back up early.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me if I still got a little sleep in my eye.
That's
But
the point. You
God,
still
I'm
beautiful and amazing.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. It's going
You too
down
as
last
well,
night.
Queen.
A lot of people
You
getting
too, Queen.
promoted and a lot of things going on, honey.
Yeah, shout out to our team because we had a lot of leveling up last night. A lot of people just helping each other to hit those different promotions. And I'm just giving shout out to the husband, Satitra, Miss Nikki, Bossy, everyone. I had agents come back active yesterday. So everybody contributed. I was able to, you know, step up to a different tier within Nove. And I'm just excited about it. I'm
Oh,
just
yes.
thanking God, thanking our team, because man,
Won't he do it, Queen? Won't he do it?
yes, he will. He definitely
Yeah.
will. Oh, good morning, Kier. Kier made it to the live. Good morning, Queen.
Good morning, Kier. Good morning, Queen. How are you?
Yes, you are amazing as well, Queen. She was dropping some gems this morning on that prayer call. If you all need, especially our queens out there, if you feeling like you need a community and you want to get back and rebuild your relationship with God, come talk to us because we do have a group called Queens in Prayer, and we will be more than happy to have you a part of that mission that we're on with just being around some queens are like-minded who believe in God, who put God as their foundation and want to help and pour into each other, whether that be spiritually, just being a support system and just helping see what, you might be missing in your life. We're there to help support you in whatever way possible. So yeah, shout out to the Queens in Prayer.
Shout out, Queens in Prayer. I got to get back in there, honey. I done missed me a couple sessions, and I can feel it.
Yeah, you definitely feel it. I had missed a couple days because I think I overslept. Something was going on. So yeah, definitely, I definitely know a difference when I don't get that prayer in the morning. My day goes little bit different. Definitely a little bit different.
Let's see. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. All right. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and kick this thing off. Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Tuesday morning tips and tea with the heavy hitter queens. I'm Satitra Booker, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host Chantella Shabazz, who is the newly promoted regional consultant with Nove Money. I myself am a senior consultant, and we are missing our wonderful sister queen, Miss Nikki Taylor, who is also a senior consultant with the wonderful company Nove. And, we just like to get together on Tuesday mornings and bring you tips in how to, strategize on putting yourself in a better situation financially. And this
Hmm.
episode, we are going to focus on the debt detox.
Yes, yes.
And let's see here. To our viewers out there, drop me in the chat or in the comments if you're ready to detox from your debt, because that is something we all struggle with a little bit here and there.
Absolutely. I know there's definitely days in my life when I've struggled with that, and it comes in cycles, right? Sometimes you're good, you have a really good season, and you catch up on a lot of things, and then all four tires start acting up on your car. Excuse me, ain't nobody tell you to start acting up. Them brakes start acting up on the car, and all of a sudden now that good strategy that you had, life started happening, and now we back in debt again because you have unexpected bills. So definitely, we as the queens wanted to come to you and just give you some tips on, some different strategies as well on how you can just try to help your debt situation. So I know we're talking about the debt detox plan. So first off, the first step we have to do, right, is assess what your debt situation is. So I like to tell people you need to break it down into categories, right? And just get an understanding about your financial situation. You have to create a plan, right, to pay off that debt and figure out how you can do it. So if you're just trying to just throw money all over the place and not really coming up with a strategy, then you're still going to be in that same situation because you got to figure out a focus where you can start eliminating some of the debt that's coming up. So first off, gather all the information, right? You want to collect your recent statements from any of the debts, like your credit cards, loans, any collections. You want to look at the details, like the creditor that you owe or the lender name, the account type. So is it a credit card, a loan, a collection, etc.? You want to look at any outstanding balances that you have on these statements. And then what is your interest rate for each one of these items that you're paying on? What's the minimum monthly payment and what's the due dates? Then split that up and categorize your debt, right? You want to make a section. Section A is credit card debt. List it out by store cards. If you have a Macy's, a Target, a Walmart card, that's one section under the credit card debt. Another section, your major credit cards. If you have those like a Visa, MasterCard, American Express, etc., right? And then look at any secure or additional unsecured cards that you might have that falls underneath that category that might have required deposit, or like if you have like a chime card or things like that, let's make sure you have that under that credit card category. And then section B would be loans. Look at any personal loans you have, student loans, auto loans, home loans, business loans. And then section C, you want to set that up for like your collection accounts, your medical bills, unpaid utility bills, old credit cards or loans are in collections that are not open or active anymore. And then you have your other debts, like if you owe any taxes, you have tax debt for the IRS or the state. If you have child support, alimony obligations, or any overdraft fees from your banks. Hopefully not, because hopefully these banks start eliminating a lot of these overdraft fees like they were supposed to. That part. But after you start categorizing the different types of debt that you have and you look at all the different things that involve that debt, now you want to organize it like on a spreadsheet or a notebook, piece of paper. You can just write it out. You don't have to get fancy with it. I'm an app girl. I love to be able to separate it, and I love Excel. If you don't know how to use Excel, you don't have to do that. Literally, you can get a notebook and just break it down, make you some columns and section off your debts, right? So when you create that track, when you create that spreadsheet or you create that notebook with the debts categorized, you want to just make sure that you're laying it all out in each row and then what the minimum payments are, your interest rates, so you can it's visual, so you can see it all right there in front of your face all together in one space. So you know exactly which ones are impacting you the most, right? So I would like to just check with our audience if you guys have ever added up any of your debts in one place. Just drop a yes in the chat. Or if you haven't done it yet, just drop a sad face. Now this is your notice. Hey, maybe this is something I should look at this year. Maybe this is something I can start doing to help myself get into a better financial situation. All right. So what about you, Satitra? Like how do you approach paying off debt?
Well, I mean, you definitely want to create a realistic budget for your debt to be able to pay it off. So you want to make sure that you are eliminating debt as quickly as possible and allocating your income effectively, for your
Mhm.
necessities, for your savings and your debt payments. And again, we want to bring up that 50-30-20 rule we've been talking about. We've been hitting on that point for the last 3 episodes. So, budgeting,
Need to hear it again.
yes, the 50-30-20 rule, So you want to modify it to pay off your debt as aggressively as possible. Having a solid budget plan is one of the most effective ways to eliminate your debt because it gives you control over your finances and ensures that every dollar has its purpose. I mean, there was one point in time where, like, literally every time I purchased something, I wrote it down and I saved every receipt for everything that I purchased. So that way I knew exactly where every single penny that I spent was going. So,
Hmm.
like tracking your income and your expenses, a budget is going to show you exactly how much money is coming in and where it's going to prevent overspending.
Okay.
I identify your unnecessary spending. We all do that from time to time. You know, that's why I kind of like shopping online more than going to the store, because when you go to the store, you see extra things that you don't necessarily need, but you're like, oh, let me grab that, So identify your unnecessary spending, and then prioritize your debt repayment. A budget is going to help you set aside specific amounts for paying off debt consistently, reducing balances faster. So you definitely want to make sure that you're reducing those balances as quickly as possible, and try, if at all possible, to prevent new debt from accumulating.
Yeah.
Plan ahead for your expenses. You're less likely to rely on your credit cards and loans for emergencies. Allow for extra payments. Sometimes if you have a little extra money, put a little extra money on that credit card or a little extra money on that bill. So that way you can pay down that debt quicker. Sometimes you look at a budget as a restriction, and it really shouldn't be looked at as a restriction. It's looking at it as setting yourself up for financial freedom or to have more money to allocate on things that you want to spend on at a later date. So, those are some things that I feel are good. And, budgeting, it's more about being responsible and having a little bit of self discipline too. So that definitely helps as well.
It definitely does. I mean, I know for me, when I really first got into starting a budget, right? I
Hmm.
looked at I looked at what we spent the year before. Like I literally went through like our credit cards and our bank statements. And I know it's tedious, right? But if you don't want to pay somebody else, you don't want to pay somebody else to do it for you. You got to put your time in and take a look at these things. And it's important because this is where your money is going, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of times we don't even know where a lot of our money was going. We pay the bills, other things pop up, and you're just paying these birthday parties over here, Christmas hits. You spend the extra money on food because it's Thanksgiving, and you don't even consciously think about these things as bigger expenses around these times. You know it's coming, you know it's happening, but we don't allot for it. But this is still
Right.
extra money that's being spent out every year. So I really just sat down and just took a look at my bank statements and our credit card statements and see exactly where the expenses were going and how much was being spent, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
categorized all those things. So I saw like one year we had more maintenance on the car. Our car got older, right? And it took more to do the repairs. If you still have that same car that following year, more than likely it's going to need more repairs. So sometimes when you do your budget, you have to allot for that older car and set aside some money saying, hey, if I'm not going to get another car this year, then I know if last year I spent like $1,500 on this car, you might want to think about go ahead and double that because that's most likely
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to end up spending on the car the following year. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. And then again, making sure you're allowing for these holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day. You know, you're gonna spend some extra money on Thanksgiving, especially if you hosting Christmas
Oh
time.
yeah.
Sometimes we have to realize what we're spending and maybe like, okay, you guys, we need to do white elephant this year.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't buy everybody a gift because my brother is having too many babies over there. He got like 50, 11 kids. And I'm like, I can't get all these nieces and nephews. Y'all getting a savings plan.
Hey, get them all high yield savings accounts. There you go.
Yep. $5 a month. We just gonna build it up till we get to the end of the year. $5 every month. I'm gonna drop it in there. There you go.
Yes,
So
yes.
I love all my nieces and nephews. I love y'all.
Love you, mean it. But we all have, some expenses that we could, quote unquote, let go, to put towards, paying off some debt and things like that. So let's ask the
Hmm.
audience, what's one expense that you could let go of to put towards, your debt? One thing that I know I could probably let go of is going to Starbucks in the morning.
She's like, oh, that hurt. I felt it through the screen. I saw it and I seen it and I felt it.
Because it's something that I've been battling with myself with for about a week though, because when I take my son to work in the morning, it's so like satisfying to go through that drive through and the egg pesto sandwich, the cheese Danish, and that oatmeal latte. I either get one or the other as far as the cheese Danish or the egg pesto sandwich. But that's something that I can let go of because that's like what about $12 a day. So that adds up, and that could
It
go
does.
towards a bill. That could go towards paying on my credit card. So you just gotta think responsibly, and sometimes it hurts to be an adult, but we all have to do it.
I understand. I'm the same way. My Achilles heel right now
Hmm.
is them streaming services because I have too many. I am the problem. I have too many streaming subscriptions because right now I have the Prime, I have Hulu with the Disney Plus package. We have what else do we have? I think we have a Paramount Plus, Stars, kind of just mixed in there. It was a thing where we were set up where like my brother had Hulu, and then my other friend had Peacock, so we would just we would share because sharing is caring, right?
That it is. That it is.
Streaming services got smart and they started saying we're gonna charge you extra if you sharing amongst households. So then that cut off some things. So now I'm kind of stuck with getting a couple extra services. But again, now I'm realizing that we don't even watch the majority of them streaming services. Like I
Hmm.
was just talking to my daughter the other day. I was like, "Do you even watch anything on Stars? Well, why do we still have this?" So we finna go in. We finna just hit the wick whack again on
Yeah.
some of these services. Yeah,
If you like me, it's like you'll get something so you can watch like a specific show or a season of something, and then just like you kind of forget about it, and then it ends up just still being there. But
hmm,
in a perfect world, it'd be nice if they had everything in one place and you could just get all the shows and movies and everything in one place, so you didn't have 5011, Stars, HBO Max, Prime Video, Hulu, Netflix. Because I mean, because I'm guilty of that myself. I
Yeah.
think I'm down to three right now, but they definitely start adding up. You know, it's almost like you might as well go ahead and just get cable if you're gonna pay all that. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. But I looked at it again, and it was still cheaper to have these individual streaming service versus getting the cable. Because if we left cable alone, because at one
Hmm.
point with the cable and the internet, we were paying $300 something a month, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's when I was working a whole lot, especially in evenings, and I was doing a lot of events and things like that. So I wasn't at home to watch any of it.
Hmm.
Aziz was, showing houses, so he not at home. My daughter is in camp and after school activities. She was doing track and step team and all these different things. So who's watching it? I'm paying for a service that nobody's watching except for maybe once every blue moon. So yeah, we decided to cut that. And for a while we were saving money, but then the streaming services got smart and they started breaking up what they was offering even more. I'm like, I'm gonna give me a book. I'm just gonna go back to reading.
Reading is good now. So the reading is good though, because sometimes it's good to cut your time down. Because it's just like social media. Sometimes fall into the black hole, and you realize, oh, I've been watching this for about 3 hours now. Let me find something else more constructive to do with my time.
Y'all don't fall into them traps with them little episodes that they be playing. They be real bad, little corny episodes where they be talking about somebody stole somebody's wedding dress or somebody's mama. They think it's the girlfriend and it's really the person's mom. I'm like, why am I watching this? Turn this off.
It happens, Queen. It happens.
Turn
You
this
got to snap back
off.
to reality.
No, it's a trap. It's a trap. Pick up the book. Read the book. Yes. The library does digital downloads now where you can, from your library, your local library, depending on what city you're in, you might be able to digitally download a book onto your phone and read it. You don't even have to go to the library anymore and go check out the book. You can download it on your phone or your tablet. So, but I know we get off track. Here we go.
That's all right. We do that from time to time. Y'all forgive us, please, and thank you.
See what happens when Miss Nikki leaves us alone to be in charge.
Yeah, because she
Miss
will say, all right, we didn't got off track.
Like,
She
I'm
will.
sorry, I'm getting back. I'm getting back.
That's all right, Queen. We got this.
But we have a little extra time, so I wanted to bring up to the audience as well because we talked
Hmm.
about how to categorize the debt, and then so teacher, you brought up a lot of great points with especially with the budgeting and
Right.
really taking a hard look at everything with the 50-30-20 rule. And I know a couple weeks ago we talked about that 20%, right? And how we want to allocate that and use that towards, self-care and things like that, making sure we put that in our budget because we can't just be workhorses all the time and just
Right.
work, work, work and do nothing for ourselves because that's when, it leads to other problems, right?
Hmm.
It leads to health issues because you're not taking care of yourself and allocating 20% to do those things to make your heart happy, make your soul smile, right? So remembering that those things are important as well. It's just not about working and paying bills each and every day. So we want to allot for that as well. But I also wanted to bring up a couple different methods that you can use as far as how to pay off the debt. One of the big things that a lot of people, it works for a lot of people, is the debt avalanche versus the debt snowball. And just figuring out which method might be right for you. So both the debt snowball and the debt avalanche methods are effective strategies for paying off your debt. And they literally can work differently. So it just depends on what your preference is. So the best choice really depends on literally your financial preference and how your life is set up, right? Which might work for you the best. So the snowball effect is literally just listen out your debts from smallest to the largest. Don't even look at the interest rates yet, right? You want to pay extra money toward the smallest debt while making minimum payments on the others. So the smallest debt is paid off first. It's you rolling that off the payment to the next smallest debt, and it just keep going until you start eliminating more and more debt. So if you feel like the small wins, right, will help maintain you and keep you motivated
Hmm.
to continue to pay those bills off, then this might be a good method for you because it gives you those quick wins, right? To stay
Right.
motivated. It helps you build financial discipline. So if you have no discipline at all and you need to
Mhm.
start working towards it, this might be a good method for you because it's not overwhelming, right?
Right.
Not is you doing small steps at a time to eventually get to the bigger wins, but it's teaching you as you're going along in the process. So it's great for those who might need encouragement along the way. Um, I've seen this work for a lot of people. Now, the cons of this is though is that you're going to pay more interest over time, right, compared
Mhm.
to the debt avalanche method because you're eliminating the small debts, but the interest rate might be high on that credit card, but if it's small, it's not that much, right?
Mhm.
Versus like if you have a $10,000 credit card bill and that
Mhm.
interest rate is at 15, 20%, then that's a lot more interest that you're paying because it's a bigger amount of debt that you owe
Yes.
versus one that's $100 with a
Mhm.
20% interest rate. That's $20 versus 2,000. You know what I mean? So those are really big differences. And then, mathematically, sometimes math is a bad word in my house because, it makes my eyes go cross-eyed sometimes. And that's why I kind of try to leave finance alone, but it keeps calling me back. But mathematically, it's not as efficient as to pay off that debt as well. So just keep that in mind. But if this is something new to you and you want to just learn how to get disciplined in this is definitely a great method. You can't go wrong with it. Now, that avalanche is basically looking at your highest debts. And you might even have like lower interest rates on those debts.
Mhm.
You want to look at that regardless of the balance. You want to pay extra money towards that debt with the highest interest rate while making minimum payments on the rest. So once that high interest rate debt is gone, that payment, then you start looking into paying off the next one that has the higher interest rate, right? And you just keep repeating those steps. So again, the pros is it saves you money on interest. It pays off your debt faster in the long run, and then it helps you to, kind of stay focused on setting long term savings goals as well, because
Mhm.
it's showing you a different strategy when it's approaching high yield debt, right? Now, some of the cons is it might take you longer because it's a bigger amount of debt. So you might not see
Mhm.
that win right away. And sometimes you can get a little discouraged. You're like, I'm paying all this money, I'm paying extra money every month, and I'm not really seeing, you know,
And
the
change it.
results because of still paying towards this one big major debt. But don't get discouraged because you're still eliminating a lot of the interest that you're paying, especially if you're
Mhm.
making extra payments. Paying 2 payments a month is definitely eliminating hundreds of dollars in interest just by making that extra second payment, right? And then it kind of requires some patience and some discipline to stick with it. So, if that's something that you're working on and you're building towards, maybe this approach works for you because this is something that you're already instilling in yourself. So again, it really depends on you as an individual and what works for you and your family on which approach might be best. And if you need some guidance or some help with trying to figure that part out, definitely come talk to either myself, Satitra, Nikki, anyone from our Nove family, our heavy hitter team. We can
Mhm.
help lead you in the right direction, especially if you're thinking about bankruptcy, right? So
Mhm.
there's some things that we can kind of look at to see if bankruptcy is even the right option for you, because there's some steps before you get to bankruptcy, which the teacher is going to talk about a little bit later. But
Yes,
yeah, but
ma'am.
to our audience, you guys, if you need quick motivation, choose the debt snowball. If you're looking to minimize your interest and learn a little discipline along the way to be able to stick with it, the avalanche method might be for you. So no matter which one you choose, though, the most important thing is consistency. And that's with anything that you do in life, consistency and commitment. And once you have those things, dedicating that towards it, you literally will be help coming yourself debt free. And that's it. I know it sounds complicated a little bit at first, but once you start doing it, like, what was I? I
Yeah.
was overthinking this whole thing.
Yes,
Really
and
over.
one of the most important things is just to start, and don't beat yourself up. I mean, because we all have gotten ourselves in situations where you're like, oh God, how did I get myself in this situation? And how am I going to get out? But Chantella gave some really, really good options. I like the snowball, so that way you can celebrate the wins. And then obviously the avalanche to knock out the interest rates. And yes, that one may take a little bit longer to see some gratification, but again, it's just the fact that you're starting the process, and you're on the road to becoming debt free, lowering those interest rates, getting your finances in order. We've provided you with several different options, and we just like to consistently give you new things to think about. And again, throw back that 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your needs, your essentials, utilities, groceries, things like that. 30% your wants, your not your essentials. Things that you want, that you have to have, not things that like, let's see here, for example, like, we're not talking about a pair of Jordans, we're not talking about a new purse, we're talking about
Right.
things that you need. And then
Mhm.
the 20% for your savings, for putting up for something for later, or if you want to allocate that savings to go towards paying down some debt, you can do that as well. So just keep your options open, don't get overwhelmed, know that there's help out there for you. We love to help you. We have a Nove's Debt Help program that can help to get you back on your feet, sleeping better at night, so you can be financially free. So,
Yes.
just keep in mind that there is help out there for you, and just don't get overwhelmed, and just take the step. Taking a step to start paying off the debt, start setting a budget. Those are steps to, that's a small win. You're setting yourself up to get financially free, to be budgeting, to get yourself, stop the unnecessary spending, things like that. So you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And I've done both methods. I've done both the snowball and avalanche method. When I was a little bit younger, I
Mhm.
did the snowball because that's what I could do at the time. And I was learning my way through, you know, adulting and paying off debt and what that looked like, right? I got
And
23. So technically, I was only a 3-year-old adult at the time.
I'm not a 3 year old, but one thing
3 year
that
adult. That's how I
I've
look
heard,
at it.
yeah, 3 years old, you crazy girl. One thing that I've heard you mention a couple of different times, and I like that idea too, was when have been talking about, like, kind of giving yourself an allowance. You put a certain amount of money on a debit card, or
Prepaid
this is my,
card.
yeah, this is my limit for 2 weeks or for this week. And once you hit that limit, be an adult, be disciplined, don't spend anything else, don't go dipping from this account to that account. I'm guilty of
Hmm.
that sometimes. So yeah, be responsible.
Yes,
Be
yes. Gotta be
responsible.
responsible. And just reminding everybody again, don't forget to pay yourself. You
Yes.
know, you have to allocate some money towards a savings, right? Think of it as a bill that has to be paid.
Yeah.
Whether it's $50 every paycheck or $100 every paycheck, whatever it looks like for you. But you can't count that money towards, going towards bill. That's
Mhm.
what I had to kind of change my mindset and think about it that way. That okay, this money, this is not money that I'm taking home. This money is
Right.
automatically going to a 401k or IUL or IRA or a high yield savings account.
Mm-hmm.
This is not my money right now. This money is not for me in this moment. This money is for future me. So you also think of it that way. You have to budget that money because really that extra $50 for that month is not going to make that much of a difference. I'd rather take the
Right.
hit on the bill. You know what I mean? Depending on the bill that's not getting paid, to make sure I'm saving something because we have to allocate some money towards that as well.
Right.
Because I used to be like that. Like every single dime I had to go towards bills. It had to pay off this, but the bill's still gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Still,
still gonna happen. You know
still gonna be there.
what's not gonna happen in the future is that working money that you have now, that working money when you're 70 is not gonna be there.
Right.
And if you're depending on Social Security for the future, you might want to rethink that because it may or may not be available for us. So
Mhm.
these are some things that you just need to start planning for. Absolutely. And maybe even if it looks like, hey, that dream that you have, that side hustle, that business that you were thinking about doing, let's look at doing it. Let's look at bringing in that extra income, so at least that income can go towards helping you save more,
Right.
right? So let's look at it that way. And then we also gonna get into ways to make extra income next week too, because this part one. This part one of the debt
Part
detox, right?
part one.
Because you got to cut expenses, but it can't be just cutting expenses. It's also finding other ways to bring in income to help to pay down these debt as well. So we're gonna look at that as well too. All right, so we're gonna check the audience here and see if you guys have any questions. Shout out to Kier. We love you, Queen, because you be on here, you be dropping information, just supporting. So thank you, Kier, for tuning in. And shout
Yeah.
out to Dion. Thank you, Dion, for tuning in. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's see here.
Absolutely. You have anybody on your end, teacher? Because sometimes I can't see everyone who's tuning in. Hey, boss man.
Let's
Bossy's in
see.
the, he's watching. Bossy's in the chat. Thank you, King. I think you missed my whole grand speech at the beginning of this Tips and Tea Live with me just saying thank you for pouring into me this month and just helping me out and helping me reach new levels. So I appreciate you, King. I appreciate you.
Yes, yes. Let's see here. Bossy is so awesome. Shout out to Bossy Mitchell.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat. I know we gave a lot of great tips and gems this morning. So teacher always be dropping the fire.
Oh,
She
girl,
definitely
stop. You be dropping the gems and the fire, okay? Not fire like Dylan, okay? But no,
Who's the greatest rapper alive? Who's the greatest rapper alive? Dylan, 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 Dylan.
oh my
Those who don't know
gosh.
what that's about.
Making the band, baby, making the band, showing our age, but that's okay.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Next
But
week, I'm
no,
gonna play that video for y'all because we had my girlfriend Kim sent me a video.
uh-huh.
There's someone else who has a tips and tea as well. Oh my gosh, I almost fell out my seat when she sent me that video and I watched it. I think this is a teacher, I think late last night. So I'm gonna play it for
Yes.
y'all next week.
Wait a minute. Wait,
So
wait.
we're giving
Why
a
did
shout out to all the tips and teas out there.
tips and tea? Yes, honey, but I'm mad that he kept moving like he was two different people though.
Because he don't have a CC and a Nikki, so he got to play different parts. You know what I mean? So
He
he
sure
don't have a
did.
Shantella, so he got to.
That was funny. I saw that early this morning, Queen. Yes, that was funny. Tips and tea. I was like, what is this?
It was tips and tea with Kathy B or something like that. It was hilarious, y'all. We're gonna play it next week so y'all can be a part of this tips and tea movement, whatever it looks like on the financial side, or y'all get some church guidance. I'm pretty sure there's some other tips and tea out there as well too.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Absolutely. So there's no questions on my end. Do you see anything on your
No,
side,
Queen.
teacher?
I didn't have any on my end either. Just some comments and things, but no questions.
All right, all right. Well, we do have a trivia question.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
forgot about that. Let's see what is that trivia question. Okay. All right, trivia question, ladies and gentlemen. What is the average credit card interest rate in the US? And we got a special giveaway for the correct answer. Come on,
Let's
guys. What
see.
is it? What is it? Do 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 do. Let's see. Do we get any answers? What is the average credit card interest rate in the US? Do we know? Do we
Anybody?
know?
Anybody?
Any
That's
takers? Any takers for
It
the
be
prize?
all over the place. I'll give you a hint. It's in the double digits.
Double. Oh.
It's in the double digits. It ain't no single digit out here in 2025. All right. So we're not gonna tell you what the answer is because we're gonna bring it back for next week. Let's do that.
All
Let's bring
right.
it back for
Stay
next
tuned.
week. Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned
So
so you know.
if you have and don't look it up, don't Google it because I see who's on here. So if next week y'all come back with the answer, I know y'all can talk to Google or Chat GPT or whatever you use. So you automatically eliminate it. But yeah, it's in the double digits, people. So if you bring the answer next week, we will give away $1,000 in restaurant savings. So that will be our giveaway if you have that answer. So yeah, let's take a look at our interest rate, people. Look at your interest rate and see what it is. Kier
Uh-oh.
said 24%.
24%.
Kier, you are pretty close. You're pretty close.
Mm.
That's
We don't like those numbers.
Kiera's pretty close. Maybe we'll just give it to her just because she's so close. But the average right now for existing accounts is about 21%. 21%. And then
21%.
yeah, and it's going up because even for new accounts,
Uh-huh.
right now it's 22% for newer accounts. So yeah, credit cards are climbing, everybody. So you gotta watch that debt that you're accruing with those credit cards. And before you look into credit cards, everybody, if you need to pay off some debt, look into loans instead, because sometimes, especially if you have a good relationship with your bank, sometimes you can get a better interest rate on a loan or a line of credit versus using
Yeah.
your credit card, which has a higher interest rate, right? But we actually are going to bring that up and talk about that as far as loans, personal loans, consolidating those things next week. So let's take a look at that. And then Satricia got our promo for you. What's the promo, Cece?
Hey, girl. Hey. So of course, our promos are, we're gonna still go taxable because it's still tax time. So we have our free tax estimate. We have up to 7K in cash advance, and again, we do personal and business. We also have the LLC promotion, where we have the free LLC. We have the essential and the elite, and with the essential and the elite plans, you do get a 12-week business coaching program with those. And then, since we are talking about budgeting and credit today, we're just going to throw out there our two credit restoration options that we have. We have My No Bay Disputes, which is a simple point and click software, which is a more of a do it yourself type situation. And then we have our referral partner Credit Life, where it's completely done for you. And they do offer a 90-day money back guarantee if you don't see any improvement in your credit score. So if you need any help with any of those things that I've mentioned, we definitely would love to help you. You can get with myself, Satitra Booker, Shantella Shabazz, and then also don't forget about Miss Nikki Taylor. We would love to help you and get you on the road to financial freedom.
Absolutely.
And as
Thank you, Queen.
always, oh, so sorry. Go ahead, Queen. My
I was
bad.
just saying thank you for sharing that, because tell them you got no excuse. We got all these ways to help you help yourself.
Yes, help. You said that right. Help you help yourself.
Absolutely. So if you need some help, we also even have a free financial analysis sheet. So if you reach out to us and you want some help with seeing what everything looks like and what
Mm-hmm.
approach you need to take, we even have that free financial analysis sheet that we can give out to you guys. So definitely feel free to contact one of the queens here, and we will help you get going.
Yes, yes, yes. Here to help, as always.
We're gonna close it out because like I like to say, the queens got things to do. So we're gonna take this out, and I just want to just recap. The key thing is just understanding what type of debt you have. What is your debt situation, right? Making sure you create that budget, like the teacher said, to help pay off the debt. We looked at the debt snowball effect versus the debt avalanche effect, and maybe even looking at ways to find extra money to help you stay debt free, which we'll get more into next week as well. So go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat if you're watching us live, or a 2 in the chat if you are watching a replay. And just thank you again to everybody for supporting us this morning. I know this Monday was rough. It's the first of the month.
Yes, Lord.
First of the
First
month.
of the
Go ahead, do it for them. They don't know. They ain't ready. They're not ready.
It's the first of the month. Get up, wake up, wake up. The bills due. It's the first of the month. Right.
I'm gonna put that back to the 15. How about that?
Girl, honey. Hmm. Yes, and then we definitely want to thank you guys for watching, sticking with us. We thank you to giving a shout out to our loyal viewers. We appreciate you, and
Yes.
we just want to invite you to watch our previous episodes, and stay tuned for next week, part two. Teaching you how to budget and putting yourself in a better situation. And let's see here. Just like I said earlier, please just like, follow, share, spread the word. You may not need our services, but somebody else might. So just always like, follow, and share. We definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, you all. Many blessings. We'll see you next week. Of love.
Love, love. Everybody have a happy, blessed Tuesday and a blessed rest of your week.